Hey guys, my name is Haley, and today we're going to be filming a book reset-ish thing. I also really just have a lot of things I want to chat about that don't need to go in any other particular video. So it's just going to be a lot of me talking and maybe some B-roll. Because I got some wrapping paper and I've been meaning to do more blind dates with a book. If you weren't here in the fall, I made a bunch of spooky dates with a book, which I have up there. And I've been meaning to make a romance version of that, but I've been so busy with work for the whole first 2 months of the year that it didn't happen. So I have some books that I want to wrap for that. I got this really cute wrapping paper for spring-ish things. I'll insert a picture of what my spooky dates with a book. These will be slightly less elaborate because I don't have all of the frills, like the netting and stuff that I used for those. Also, those are still for sale. If you're interested, message me on Instagram or my TikTok. I don't think I've ever talked about my TikTok on here. I've been trying to get into book talk a little bit, and I can't tell how much effort I need to put into it because the TikTok ban is still in effect technically and might go away in April, which is a month from now. So don't know what we're doing there, but I'm going to sit here and wrap some of these. I have several topics I want to get into. I think I'm just going to start wrapping first, and I'm also watching BookTube down here on my iPad, and as I catch up on that and wrap books, as I think of things to talk about, I will come back on here and talk. That's kind of my plan. I'm going to film this over the next 2 or 3 days with all the subjects I want to get to. So here's my March reset. Hello, check-in time. I have wrapped a bunch of these for blind dates. Also, if you are someone who sells blind dates, I know people use Etsy and such for that. I have used Facebook Marketplace and that has worked okay, but also Facebook Marketplace is so oversaturated at this point that I don't know if it's the best option. I've also thought about making my own website and stuff for that, which I might end up doing eventually, but I don't know if that's the move right now. But yeah, I did 10 of them. That's what I did with my paranormal and horror and thriller ones to start with until I started getting orders and such, and then I started wrapping more. But yeah. Also, if I sound nasally, I am getting over a cold. One of the colds finally got me. I've been as someone who works in childcare, I've been actively avoiding and washing my hands to the point that my hands are so dry. But also, I hadn't gotten sick, and then finally, one of them got me in the last 2 days, and I'm really upset about it because I was doing so well. But as is winter in childcare. But yeah, this was the first step on my book reset journey for March, which I feel as long as January was, I feel like February literally flew by, and I don't know how we're at the end of February. Because again, I meant to do these for Valentine's Day. That didn't happen because I was working much more in the last month, especially than I have in the last year and a half I've been with this company. So, trying to think of what other things I can update you on. I did reorganize my shelves. Maybe I will show that at some point. Maybe next. I haven't decided yet, but trying to think of other things I want to update. One I know I'm going to talk about, and I have to go grab it. Hold on. One of the other things I've started this year is journaling in general. Not necessarily book journaling, though there is bookish things in here. I have always been one of those people where I'm I wish I could journal, but I will just do it once and then forget to do it ever again. And that has kind of been the case with this. I'll work on it for 2 or 3 days. I started when I was getting a bunch of books from the library that I knew I had to return, and I went through and took some notes on that. I made the little bookshelf that's not nearly as aesthetic as anybody else's bookshelves that I'm going to color code by either whether I read it physically or on audio, etc. I've also done cute things like this for other nonfiction books I want to get to, and snippets of my library receipts. I also have been trying to do a form. Can you see that? A form of junk journaling, because I watch so many junk journal videos, and I think they're so fun. So I've been trying to do things more like that, but as you can see, this is literally just an everything journal, and I'm going to keep it that way until I get into the habit of journaling, and then if I end up liking it enough to continue to do it and like expand on my creativity with it, I will buy an actual journal for like next year, because this is just like a thrift store journal I've had for years that I've never used, because I do tend to pick up like journals if they're $1 or $2 and I like the look of them. And this one just says Life Begins at the End of Your Comfort Zone by Neil Donald Walsh. I don't know who that is. I just like the quote, so I picked up the journal, and now that's become my first journal that I'm going to try to do things with. So if you're looking for the aesthetic journal videos that I've been saving to look at later when I decide to actually fully commit to journaling, this is not the place for you. If you are someone who also wants to be a journaler and has been or wants to get into like trying different types of journaling, like junk journaling or what have you, bullet journaling, whatever, you might want to stick around and subscribe, because I'm going to be going through that process for the rest of the year. And like there's certain pages I probably won't share that are more like personal, like ones of me and my partner, but other than that, it's mostly going to be bookish because that is my main hobby. I might write some of my like thoughts on the state of the US in there as it gets more and more hellish under Cold 45, but yeah, I'm going to clean up a lot of these. I might take some pictures actually first, so I can list these somewhere. Again, if you have any recommendations of where to list things like blind dates. I also have been building like a community of like girls that I've worked with in different centers that I think also might be interested in these. So that is a benefit I have of working at different places and not the same group of like 20 or 30 people like most centers have. But I'm going to take pictures and videos of these, and I'll update you when something else interesting happens. Yes, here's a close-up of the ones that I've made so far. If you're actually interested in any of these, you can follow me on either my TikTok, which I've been more active on, or my Instagram. I will say I am not as active on my Instagram right now because I did a little bit of a Facebook boycott for a minute there, but for the time being, I'm on Instagram. But I am pretty relatively active on TikTok, so you can message me there as well, and I'll probably have a video up of these soon. Good morning. So this morning I am planning to go to the Goodwill bins. I understand that Goodwill in general is not good for many, many, many reasons. But as someone who is trying to build up a nonfiction library has been very helpful, I've also found quite a few fiction books. And at my Goodwill bins, everything is 50 cents book-wise. So all of the books are 50 cents, which is the cheapest way for me to acquire books. And also, it has become the cheapest way for me to acquire clothes as long as you wear gloves and are willing to dig through piles of clothing. The other reason I also justify the bins over actual Goodwill is the things that are at the bins, especially clothing-wise, pretty much go straight to a landfill after. So anything that I get from there, I am essentially stopping from ending up in landfills, which further harm the planet. So I'm not really like a super climate conscious person, but I am like aware of it as somebody who has followed several creators who are. So I try my best to do little things like that. But yeah, just putting that out there. So I'm going to the Goodwill bins. I will try to film. It's really hard for me to film there, one, because a lot of places don't let you, because that is where resellers get a lot of their things, if you didn't know. And the one that I go to that's closest to me has the best book section of the bins that I've been to. There's like 2 of them near me, and one is great if you're looking for clothes to resell, like on Depop and stuff like that. And the other one is great if you're looking for books or like random things that you're gonna dig through the bins for. And if you didn't know, Tuesday are the best days to go to the bins, because I think it's like when they switch them out the most often is the reasoning. I was like Googling this when I first got into going to the bins. So yeah, I've also reached the point where, as you can see, I have hundreds of books in this room, and you've heard me talk several times about how me and my partner are living at home right now with my parents, and pretty much everything I own is in this room besides stuff that's in like the kitchen and such. So you might be like, Haley, why do you keep acquiring books? One, I'm afraid of book bans. Two, because of the current state of the country, I would rather be drowning in books and like just acquiring them. That I'm no longer on the side of BookTube that like shames people for having a large TBR. I just don't abide by that anymore because of the current state of the country, whatever is keeping people happy, but also I'm saving the books, so I will continue to acquire them. You'll probably see a lot of used book hauls from me this year in general. You already have. Like my 2 book hauls that I just put up are like 30 plus 30-40 minutes long each, and I normally don't post videos that long. Who knows how long this one will be because it's more vlog style and I tend to just keep talking. But yeah, since I have the day off, I'm going to go to the bins on a Tuesday. Hopefully not be bombarded by the crazy people, because sometimes on Tuesday the people that are like massive resellers are a little bit much. I will say that, so you have to be prepared for that. I also fully have been like hit on or harassed by old men at the bins, so you kind of have to have a little bit of thick skin of like just some weird people. But yeah, we're gonna go do that. And if I remember to take vlog clips, you will have vlog clips. If not, I will come and show you the haul afterwards, because this is supposed to be a reset vlog, but also as often as I go book hunting, I might be posting hauls every other video at this point, so I might as well throw them into other videos. But I'm going to finish my coffee, I'm going to eat something, and then we're going to go head out for all of our errands. I also have to do an Amazon return because I bought the wrong moisturizer because they look exactly the same. So I have to go return that to my Whole Foods. Yeah, let's go. And as expected, I did not take any clips while I was out because I'm bad at filming when I am not in the house. I'm trying to work on, and today apparently was not the day. Especially at the bins, I feel like I get so focused on like digging through everything that it just doesn't happen. I have a whole like Apple cardboard box of the books that I got between the bins, and I also did go to another thrift store down the street called Village Discount. So I'm gonna haul them for you. I don't know if this is gonna be the end of the vlog because there's a couple other things I did want to talk about, but these are a mismatch of things that you could possibly get at a Goodwill bins or a Goodwill outlet. That's what they're usually called, near you. I have If I Had a Hammer Building Homes and Hope for Habitat for Humanity. I thought I would learn more about Habitat for Humanity because I feel like I don't know very much. I have Stories from Oz. This is like a illustrated kids book of The Wizard of Oz. My partner really loves The Wizard of Oz, so anytime I see something related to it, I buy it. We have Fish in a Tree. This is a middle grade about fitting in that I've wanted to read for years. We have No One Ever Asked. I believe this was a literary fiction about women and their children in school, which I thought was relevant. Is it going to be helpful? I don't know. Might I hate it if they're like conservative women? Yeah. So we'll see. We have The Rage of a Privileged Class. Why are middle class blacks angry and why should America care? Anytime I see anything on racism, I pick it up. We have Small Mercies by Dennis Lehane. I believe this was a historical fiction about war of some kind. No, this one's about desegregation in public schools. I also have read a few Dennis Lehane's. He's usually like a thriller writer, and I've really liked what I've read of his. I think my favorite was like Shutter Island. And then I found some like books in really good condition at that other thrift store. I got Labyrinth Lost. This is about Brujas, and anything that is a marginalized author, I will pick it up. And I've wanted to read this for years because I love the cover. We have Poverty by America, which I don't think I own. No, I don't. Sometimes I pick up books about racism and go, did I already pick this one up? I don't know. And I know that is a must read. I have The Book Thief, which I read years ago and sobbed my eyeballs out and did not own, or if I did, I don't know what happened to it. We have Persepolis. I've never read this, and I've always been interested. And it's a graphic novel or graphic memoir, and it's always in the children's section. I don't think it's a children's book. Anybody who has read that, please confirm. But I know people that study that in like college, so I don't know why it always gets put there. And then I have 1000 White Women, the Journals of May Dodd. I think this may have been about an indigenous woman. It says a novel, but I think it might be based on the life of an indigenous woman. So we'll see. We have I Was There, American Dream, a graphic memoir. And I believe this was a mixed race child, and it's a graphic memoir. And I believe it says Filipino, Egyptian, or American. Anything that's a graphic novel that has to do with race, I also will pick up. Or graphic novels of history, another one of my favorites. I've read a lot of those in the last couple of months. We have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, because I, for some reason, don't own it. We have Amos Fortune, Free Man. This is about, I remember this one. This one is about the slave ships that were taken from Africa, and I don't think my wrap-up's going up before this. I just read a book this past month that was about that, and I wanted to read another fictional perspective of it because it was very interesting. We also have Survival in Auschwitz, which unfortunately topical. We have How Stereotypes Affect What We Can Do. Social justice books, always up my alley. We have Our Constitution and Government, because that seems to be thrown out the window in America at this time, which is just not concerning at all. We have Narrative of Sojourner Truth. We have 12 Angry Men, which is a play I've heard a lot about, and I don't love reading plays. I prefer to see them, but nobody here has ever done it, so I've never had the chance to. Then I have Lord of the Flies with this really cool cover. It's definitely a newer edition, which is another thing. I feel like I used to own it, don't know what happened to it. I'm realizing as I go through my books and organize more and more as I pick up classics and nonfiction and stuff, that I don't know what happened to all of my copies of classics that I had in school. And I don't know if they were just lost to time, or my parents threw them away without my knowledge, or got destroyed, or what, but I don't know where they are. So I've been picking up a lot more. And I have Black Dignity in a World Made for Whiteness. Again, anything dealing with race, I will pick up, especially since I've been educating myself more and more on the subjects. We have Being Human, but spelled differently, an unrepentant memoir of disability rights activists, which sounds so interesting. We have Things Fall Apart. I definitely read this in school, and again, don't know what happened to my copy. It's been a long day. And this looks like someone's dog took a bite out of it, but that's fine because it was 50 cents. And then we have Plantation Theory, the Black Professional Struggle Between Freedom and Security, which is thankfully written by a black man, because I got really scared for a second there. I don't always read the backs of these when I'm going through the bins. I just pick it up if it sounds even remotely up my alley. And every once in a while I'll come back and be like, ugh, that sounds like Christian propaganda, and then I get rid of it. That's only happened to me a handful of times. Most of the time I can get the vibe very quickly. We have The Black Kids. This, I think, was historical. Yeah, Los Angeles, 1992. Something about the fires in LA in the 90s, told from a black teen's perspective, which I was like, sign me up. We have The Hate You Give, that did not have its dust jacket, but I could not leave it there because, again, don't know what happened to my copy. It is possible that some of my fiction books for sure got given to Half Price Books, because I used to go there all the time. And if you brought in books, you would get store credit, and the store credit used to actually be good, and now they're so oversaturated because everybody reads now that they won't even take some of your books, so I don't know that I'll ever do that again. But I do think that's what happened to some of my series. One of which I know was, no, not that one. Hold on. One of which I know was my Divergent series. I got rid of them, and I regret it. I have regretted it ever since. It was years ago. And so I've been trying to find them in hardcover in decent condition at thrift stores, and this is the first one I found, so that is a goal. And then I also have The Invention of Hugo Cabret, which is a middle grade I have always wanted to read, because half of it is illustrations, and the other half is in prose. So this is one I've always looked for and never found for cheap enough. Ugh, my nose is irritated. I've been in thrift stores all day and I'm like mildly allergic to dust as well as still getting over a cold. And people are walking in on me. Hi! But yeah, my nose is stuffy. Oh, you're blocking my light. Goodbye. Yes, my nose is stuffy, so if I sound congested, I am. It's mostly dust, though, because thrift stores. I also have Concrete Rose, also by Angie Thomas, the same author as The Hate You Give, which I never read Concrete Rose, so I'm excited about that one. Then I have Falling Up by Shel Silverstein. I've been picking up Shel Silverstein to add to my children's book collection, which is not, most of it is not in this room. A lot of it is in a storage unit. Only because children's books are huge and I have not been doing my like blind dates with those. So those are on the back burner right now. Then I have the new Jim Crow, which I've heard is a fantastic read on race. Oh, this is the 10th anniversary edition. That's fun. We have Strong is the New Pretty, a celebration of girls being themselves. And this is literally just like a picture book. And then it has like kids' quotes on it. Like this one is literally, I can do lots of things people think I'm not strong enough to do. Scars are won by those who fought to overcome something hard in life and won. 18-year-old, like this is all about women empowerment, and I needed it. Then I have Behavior Management, Principles and Practices of Positive Behavior Supports. This is about teaching and like children and such. And again, parenting books I also will pick up because I am a teacher and a lot of them are a lot of the same things. So we have one of those. And as someone who works in childcare with a lot of behavior students, especially in the underfunded childcares that I've been to, being a daycare sub, you would not believe the behaviors I find. So anything that gives us tips and tricks of how to handle them, I'm all ears because a lot of us have tried everything. But I've also keep hearing the whole statement of you can't out teach bad parenting, and now I'm like, I've never heard anything truer in my life, but also the parents have a lot going on too. I understand that, but like there's a whole crisis. I can get into that whole subject some other time because I will talk for hours, but and then I have Blended, using disruptive innovation to improve schools. Again, teaching books. Yes, please, thank you. We have So You Want to Talk About Race, which I don't think I've read, but I'm definitely interested. Then we have The Van Gogh Cafe. This is like a kid's picture book that has some prose about Van Gogh, and I thought it was super cute. And then last we have Subtle Acts of Exclusion, How to Understand, Identify, and Stop Microaggressions. Again, about race. So yeah, how many books is that? I have no idea. Did I count them? No. I also got some like stickers and stuff for journaling. And we did go a few other places. Like I also did some grocery shopping and got like coffee and stuff in case the tariffs kick in. And I'm afraid of how expensive coffee might get. If you would like to talk about the chaos that is our country, please chat with me in the comments down below or follow me on TikTok there because I repost all the things and I want to get in on those conversations so I don't spiral. But yeah, that is my book haul of all of the books I got today while thrifting. Mostly at the bins, a little bit of other places thrifting, but I just wanted to make a point that it's very easy to find books for cheap for those of us who don't buy them full price. And as someone who rarely buys any of them full price, if you have a Goodwill outlet near you, I know Goodwill is not the best company to support, but when you are on a budget and you want to be educated, especially to educate yourself on like nonfiction things, I feel like the bins are like a good way to find things like that if your Goodwill bins has books or like a decent book section, which I've heard not all of them do. So definitely look around your local area. But also anything that stays at the bins ends up going to the landfill anyway. So I feel the least worried about shopping at the bins when it comes to Goodwill and thrift stores because otherwise a lot of these would be in the trash. So that's my hot take. That's my talk about thrifting and buying books secondhand and Goodwill. But I had a good day. I have to work really early in the morning tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to end this yet because I had a few other things I want to talk about, but that is my clip on my book call. Thank you, bye. Hello, it's like 2 days later. I went to the Akron Book Fest and I was going to put that in here, but since I already did a haul on the bins books that I got, I figured 2 hauls is a lot for one reset video. So I'm going to make that its own video while I talk about the book fest. But anyway, I'm going to try to wrap this one up today so I can actually get it up tomorrow. Otherwise, I will just be filming clips for the next 2 weeks and the reset will be in the middle of the month and then it's pointless, in my opinion. So, the last few things I wanted to go through here. I wanted to talk about the reading app that I've been using this year because I don't think I've talked about it yet, or if I did, it was only in very, very short passing, and that is Bookly. I will leave like a screenshot of what it looks like here. I don't know if I know how to like edit in the video clip. We'll see if editing Haley can figure that out. I've been using it all year. I used it for about a month and a half, and then apparently at a certain threshold, I think it was like 12 books, you had to like pay. And I was like, I actually like this so much more than Goodreads. And as somebody who's been trying to find an alternative for Goodreads for years and has not found one that I liked, I had a friend of mine on Bookstagram recommend Bookly after all of the drama that was going on with one of the other book tracking apps that was being racist because of their AI and all of that. I don't remember which one it was, but it was not one I've used. But I found Bookly because of all of that discourse that went on Bookstagram, and I really like the setup. I really love that you can like time yourself when you're reading and just like hit continue reading. If you forget to time yourself, you can just add in like pages later and it'll like add it to your total. You can make like a goal for the day. Like for the most part, my goal has been 40 minutes a day, which I definitely have not done every day, but because I know that goal is in there, and that's about as much time, even if I don't read at all the rest of the day, I can usually read about 30 or so minutes at least on my break at work. So that's been working out a lot for me. So if you've never heard of Bookly, I did end up paying for the full version, which is like you just pay for the whole year at once. And it was like a little bit expensive, but for somebody like me who has been looking for a Goodreads alternative for so long, I love this app so much. I highly recommend it. I've never heard anybody else talk about it besides the one friend of mine from Bookstagram that suggested it. What else? There was another thing I was going to... Oh, library book sales. It is library book sale season. It is also possible, because it is library book sale season, that you will see a lot of hauls on my channel, because as I've chatted about several times, in both the hauls I just posted and during this video itself, I have been picking up tons of used books, whether it's at book sales, whether it's at small local bookstores, whether it's at the bins, anything like that. So as the library book sales come in, and as they happen, because they will happen like mostly between April, May, and June, there's usually quite a few, at least in my area. So there will probably be more book hauls, and I know that y'all like the book hauls because they always get the fastest traction on my channel. And I don't think that's particular to me. I think people just like to watch people haul books, and I understand. But I will probably be chatting a lot more about those, so expect that in the near future of book hauls galore, if I actually keep track of them, because when I'm consuming and getting this many books, sometimes I'll forget to like, I'll put them away on the shelves and be like, oh god, is that new? Was that in the last thing I hauled? I don't know. Like, I literally have the stack that I got at the Akron Book Fair the other day for my other video I'm going to film. I had to leave it out because otherwise I will forget everything that I got, because once I start like reorganizing, putting them on the shelves, out of sight, out of mind, forget it exists. And then speaking of bookshelves, I did show a little bit of my shelves while I was doing, God, what video was that? One of my book hauls where I just like went around and showed you all of my shelves. And so I wanted to show a little bit of the things I have changed while I am here. So over here, this is the worst angle ever, but again, I have made this shelf, which was like my book selling shelf, this one behind me, where I had all my blind dates and stuff, which are now on top of my big shelves. I decided that I did not like that because I wasn't like looking at my TBR books as much when they are behind all of my, as you can see up there, I have a ton of like knickknacks and like plushies and stuff on the shelf, and if my TBR books are behind those plushies, that book does not exist because I will just look at the plushie and forget what's behind it. So, for the most part, almost all of my TBR, especially my like soft cover, what's it called? Paperback. All of my paperback books, maybe not all, most of my paperback books are on this shelf if they didn't fit in any category, like this one right here is romance. I think this is like literary, and then up there is like horror and things of that like. I have like a historical fiction section right here. And that's just because I sit here so often that it is way easier for me to just look at the shelf right next to me if I just want to pick a book up off my TBR. And the only other difference is there is one of these things I actually want to change already since I moved everything around. But up there, I have made that my like fantasy shelf because I've been trying to get more into fantasy romance. I have all of my memoirs and stuff over there. And this shelf, which is my main shelf that you see behind me in a lot of my videos, is the only one I don't like. And I will tell you why. But yes, that shelf is not my favorite. I also made all of these like my older fantasy books that I've had for years. And I want to like go back and reread those series. I'll talk about that another time. But anyway, that main shelf is, right now it's a mixture of my Don May because I want to get to them soon and they fit there well. And then also any of my diverse books that were not from Black History Month because my Black History Month ones are still over there. But I want to find a way to display them that actually makes me pick them up. I don't know how else to phrase that. So, completely off topic. I've started reading the Spark of the Everflame series, which I'm probably going to film a vlog for because I'm obsessed with them. And so I bought them all in hardcover. Not that I'm finished the series, not even that the series is finished. But I want to put them on another shelf on display with like Fourth Wing and stuff and like current fantasy romance series that I'm reading. And I currently don't have a place to do that. Like, those are queer books. Like, I'm trying to figure out the reorganization thing. I feel like that's just the life of a book person who has a lot of books, is that you don't know where to put things. And you like to just go through the process of like reshelving and moving your books around. Maybe that's just me. I don't think it is. But yeah, that's a current thing that I'm doing. But this was a very chaotic bookish reset. I don't know what all I need to add in these. Honestly, I need to watch more people that do the bookish resets to see what other subjects to cover, because mine just end up being chaotic vlog clips of me chatting about anything that I think is bookish. So if you enjoyed this video, leave me the little book stack emoji in the comments down below. I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys next time.